Think about the last time you were truly kind to a stranger, not because you had to be, not because anyone was watching, but because something in you recognized something in them and responded to it. Now think about the last time someone treated you with that same unexpected kindness. The moment when a person who owed you nothing gave you something anyway. Time, help, a word, a look that said, "I see you. You matter." Those moments stay with us because they remind us of something we know but rarely articulate, that we are not islands, that we were built for each other, that something essential in us only comes alive in the presence of other people. Africa gave the world a word for this, one word that contains an entire philosophy of what it means to be human, and that word is Ubuntu. Umuntu and ngumuntu, ngabantu, in Zulu and Xhosa, and echoed across Bantu, languages from South Africa to the Congo to Tanzania. This phrase means a person is a person through other persons, or in its most profound translation, I am because we are. Welcome to Great African Wisdom, where we bring you the timeless teachings of the African continent and show you how to live them in your real life today. If this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on notifications. New wisdom drops every week. What Ubuntu really means. Most people who have heard of Ubuntu think they understand it. They think it means something like teamwork, or community spirit, or being kind to others. And while it includes all of those things, Ubuntu is far deeper than any of them. Ubuntu is a philosophy of personhood. It says that your identity, who you are, your full humanity, your becoming as a person, is not something you achieve in isolation. It is not forged alone in the silence of your own ambition. It is built in relationship, in encounter, in the quality of presence you bring to other human beings and the quality of presence they bring to you. In other words, you do not fully exist outside of your relationships with others. And this is not a limitation. This is the design. This is what makes human life not just possible, but meaningful. Origin and history. Ubuntu as a concept is rooted in the Bantu linguistic family, one of the largest and most widespread language groups in Africa, spanning over 500 languages and more than 1 billion people across Central, Southern, and East Africa. In Zulu and Xhosa cultures of Southern Africa, Ubuntu was not just a word, it was a social code. It governed how communities organized themselves, how elders made decisions, how disputes were resolved, how the sick were cared for, how strangers were received, and how children were raised to understand their place within the whole. Ubuntu was also the ethical foundation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in post-apartheid South Africa, the process that helped a nation begin to heal from one of the most brutal systems of oppression in modern history. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, one of its greatest champions, described Ubuntu as the very heart of what made reconciliation possible. Not laws, not force, but the African understanding that the humanity of the oppressor is bound to the humanity of the oppressed, and that you cannot damage one without damaging both. That is the power of Ubuntu. It does not just soften how we treat each other in good times. It holds the framework for how we treat each other when everything has broken down, when betrayal, injustice, and violence have created what seems like an impossible divide. The Ubuntu story. Let me tell you a story that illustrates Ubuntu better than any definition. An anthropologist studying an African tribe decided to carry out a small experiment. He placed a basket of sweet fruits under a tree and told the children of the village that the first one to reach the basket would win all the fruit for themselves. He expected them to race, to compete, to push each other aside. Instead, all the children held hands and walked to the tree together and sat down together and shared the fruit equally between them. When the anthropologist asked them why they did not race, why they did not compete, one child answered for the entire group. She said, "Ubuntu. How can one of us be happy if all the others are sad?" The anthropologist had been studying the tribe, but in that moment the tribe was teaching him. That child did not learn Ubuntu from a textbook. She did not attend a seminar on community. She learned it the way all African children have always learned it, through the air of a community that breathes it every day without thinking. What Ubuntu demands. So what does Ubuntu actually demand of us in practical terms, in the everyday texture of how we treat the people around us? It demands first that you see people, not as obstacles, not as instruments for your purposes, not as background characters in the story of your own life, but as full human beings with their own interior worlds as rich and complex as yours. Ubuntu demands that you greet. In many African communities, the act of greeting another person, truly greeting them, making eye contact, speaking their name, asking after their well-being and meaning, it is considered a fundamental act of humanizing them. To walk past a person without acknowledgement is not just rude in Ubuntu culture. It is a form of violence, the denial of their personhood. Ubuntu demands that you share what you have, not just money or resources, but time, attention, knowledge, space, and care, because what you withhold from others diminishes your own humanity. The more you give, the more fully human you become. And Ubuntu demands that you understand your own suffering as connected to the suffering of others, that you cannot build a fence around your pain and call it private, that in a community practicing Ubuntu, your grief is the community's grief, and the community's joy is yours. The African elder who shares the last of their food with a stranger is not being self-sacrificial in the Western sense. They are being self-actualizing in the Ubuntu worldview. The act of giving to another completes something in the giver. The sharing does not diminish you. It grows you. When Ubuntu is absent, let us now look at what happens when Ubuntu is absent, because its absence is visible all around us in the modern world. When people are reduced to their economic value, when human beings become users, consumers, followers, or competitors, Ubuntu has left the room. When a neighbor can die alone and undiscovered for weeks. In a city of millions, Ubuntu has left the building. When a child grows up believing that their worth is their performance, their rank, their productivity, Ubuntu was never in the home. The loneliness epidemic that is spreading across the world's wealthiest nations is not a mystery. It is the predictable outcome of building societies around the individual as the ultimate unit, and forgetting that the individual only becomes fully themselves in relationship with others. Ubuntu is not nostalgia for a simpler time. It is a diagnostic tool for understanding exactly what has gone wrong and a map for how to rebuild it. 5 ways to live Ubuntu. So how do we actually live Ubuntu in a modern world that was not designed for it. Here are 5 ways, drawn directly from how African communities have practiced Ubuntu for generations. 1. Greet fully. When you encounter a person today, any person, greet them with your full attention. Eye contact. Their name if you know it. A genuine, "How are you?" that actually waits for the answer. This is not small. This is Ubuntu in its most daily form. 2. Share beyond your comfort. Identify something you have that someone in your circle needs. Time, knowledge, money, a connection, a word. And give it without waiting to be asked. The discomfort you feel in giving is the old individualism resisting. Push through it. 3. Let someone else's pain matter to you. When a person in your life is hurting, resist the instinct to fix, advise, or move on quickly. Simply sit with it. Ask how they are carrying it. Be present in the discomfort of their reality. That presence is Ubuntu. 4. Eat together. The African communal meal is not an accident. It is a technology of connection. Find one regular time to eat with people you love or people you want to know better. Not over a screen. Together. The table is where Ubuntu is practiced most naturally. 5. Expand your we. Ubuntu challenges you to push the boundary of who you consider part of your community. The stranger. The person who is different from you. The one your instincts told you to walk past. Ubuntu asks, what if their humanity and yours are already linked, whether you acknowledge it or not? Closing. There is something the world desperately needs right now that Africa has carried for thousands of years. Not technology, not resources, not military power, but a way of seeing, a way of being with each other that says, your humanity and mine are not separate things in competition. They are the same thing, seen from 2 sides. Ubuntu is Africa's greatest gift to the modern world, not because it is idealistic, but because it is true, because it describes something real about human beings that all the individualism and self-optimization in the world cannot replace. Umuntu, ngumuntu, ngabantu. IAmBecauseWeAre. African wisdom, ancient, communal, yours to live. Before you go, tell me in the comments, what does Ubuntu mean to you? Or share one way you already practice it in your own life without knowing it had a name. I want to hear it. The community wants to hear it. If this video moved you, share it with someone who needs to remember their connection to others today. Subscribe to Great African Wisdom, and I will see you in the next one.